Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak Français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Welcome once again to Hello, Bonjour, Alberta. I'm Anne Boiteau, and this is our season 12. This season, we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the twinning of the cities of Calgary and Quebec, as well as the linguistic duality of Alberta. And tonight, we welcome Stephan Gabriel, senior producer for Orange Iceberg Media, and his lovely daughter, Chloë Grabriel, who is a university student at Mount Royal University. Yeah. Welcome.
My pleasure.
Merci.
So, Stephan, let's start with you and tell us a little bit of where you're from and what actually brought you to Alberta.
I'm originally from Quebec, Montreal. And we moved to Calgary in 2013 following my wife's new job. And prior to that, I worked 15 years in television and broadcasting in Quebec. And I'm fortunate that I was able to find the same kind of job here in Calgary. And now I work as a TV producer for myself, and I'm producing different kind of documentary series in French language.
Okay, so you grew up in this kind of environment, didn't you?
Totally. My father was a broadcaster executive and also a TV producer. So my childhood, I was like on sets many times in Montreal.
Ah, okay. And Chloë? Did you speak English before you came to Alberta?
Yes, I did. I was in Montreal before. I was born and raised there. I moved when I was 15, and I went to school there in English when I was in kindergarten, so I was perfectly fine when I moved here. I already knew English.
Ah, okay. So the transition was a bit easier for you than maybe for your dad.
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. And what do you study at Mount Royal now?
So I study criminal justice.
Ah, why?
I've always been interested in that type of stuff, so in law, kind of crime. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I really have. And then I've always really been interested in like the shows like CSI and like the murder shows. I know it sounds also weird, but it's not. Like I really just like that stuff, and I feel like that's my passion, so I decided to go and study it.
Ah, good for you.
Thanks.
And you want to be a lawyer, you said?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Criminal lawyer.
You think maybe after these 4 years in criminal justice, you might change your mind and become a coroner or something?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's 4 years, so I have a lot of time to decide and maybe change. So a lot of my classes are oriented to different stems of the criminal justice system, so I might change my idea of what I'd like to do in the future.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about what you're studying right now.
So right now, my program just focuses on like a bunch of different areas in the criminal justice system. So there's corrections, policing, like the law kind of side, and we have to take classes in all of them pretty much so that we can know where we'd like to go in the future. And right now I'm just in really introduction classes since it's my first semester there in my first year, but they're very interesting. I have to take criminology, introduction to the justice system, so that's learning about all the courts and everything, which I find very interesting. Also forensics and a few general classes that I have to take.
Very diversified, eh?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's good. And Stephan, you are producing different kinds of shows, more on the documentary kind of style shows?
Yeah, like when I was in Montreal, I worked for a broadcaster, and I was there as a senior like in-house producer, and where I produced like a morning TV show, also a public affair. And after that, I worked for Québécois Media in Montreal, where I was the director of their pay-per-view network. I was there for 3 years, and there I was mostly producing and being responsible for live TV events, such as like music concerts, UFC fights, boxing events. And then when we moved to Calgary, I produced, like, my first project was a series called Chalet de l'Alberta, which is Cabins Alberta. We produced 6 episodes of 30 minutes. And so we went throughout the province from it was like around like Edmonton, and we went south to Pincher Creek. So it was really like across Alberta. We visited 12 cabins. So 2 cabins per episode, and from like the log cabin to very, very small cabins, so all kind of cabins that were in Alberta. It was very nice series. And recently, last summer 2016, we produced a series called Histoire de char, car stories.
Classic cars, eh?
Yes, exactly. Cars that at least are 20 years old. And it's always about the story of the car and the story of why the owner bought that specific car. There's always a good story behind a car.
Yes.
So that's the
personality too, eh? Matching
exactly.
The car.
Yeah, it's so true that the car goes with the personality. And it was a very nice project. I love cars, so it was not a problem for me to do that project. It was like natural to me. And I had a lot of pleasure to produce that series. That was produced all in French.
So in your documentaries, you are looking for, as much as possible, francophones.
Absolutely. It's a
right?
condition for me to have a francophone. And surprisingly, there's always like, we didn't have any problem to find cabins owner who speak French. We didn't have any problem to find car owners who speak French.
Okay, so Anglophones also who speak French,
yes, both.
not just Francophones, but...
Yes, both. But the challenge is always to find a Francophone, but it was always like an easy task, I would say, to do that.
Good. And what's coming up? What are some of the ideas that you've got for other projects now?
But first, we would like to have a second season of Histoire de char. We're currently in discussion with the broadcaster. I think that the chances are pretty good that we're going to be renewed. And then we have another project that I really like, and that's my baby, I would say. It's called a documentary about Gilles Villeneuve, the Formula One driver who died in 1982. Gilles was my hero when I was a kid. And I grew up following him on the track and everything, and I was reading all the books about him, so it was like the guy that I was aspiring to be. But I didn't have the skill to be a driver. But and I was fortunate that I proposed that project to a broadcaster, and he said it's a very good idea, because in 2018 it will be the 40th anniversary of Gilles' first victory in Formula One.
Oh.
And that first victory happened in Montreal in 1978. So that's where the idea came from. But it's very fascinating because I had the opportunity to talk with former Formula One drivers such as Mario Andretti, Carlos Reutemann, Jody Scheckter, Niki Lauda. And all those guys are very, very nice. I said, okay, I would like to do a documentary about Gilles. Okay, it's like, it's a key that opens like all the doors, and there's always good memories about Gilles.
He was very well liked.
Yes, by the other drivers, but also by all the people around him. And there's a lot of research to do, but I mean, it's always like easy when you pick the phone and say, I'd like to talk to you about Gilles. Oh, okay, so it's good. It's very interesting. So that's my big challenge for 2017 to produce that series.
So how long do you think it'll take you to produce a series like that?
Would like to produce probably 2 or 3 hours and probably like takes 8-10 months to produce that series.
Wow.
It's a short series, of course, but in terms of time, there's a lot of traveling, a lot of interviews to do, and a lot of shooting and editing after it.
Oh yes, it does take quite a bit of time.
Yes, it will. It should be good because we will have to travel to France, Italy, USA, Canada, Montreal. So on that aspect, it will be challenging, but it will be good too.
Very interesting. And for you, Chloé, you're very busy.
I am. I'm very.
Do you have time for hobbies?
Barely. I barely get to see any of my friends just because I have so much work and I have to study a lot, and I think a lot of that is on me. I want to study a lot. I want to do really well in my classes, and university is just like it's a big step from high school. So just getting used to all the workload and the timing is hard, but I'm trying to get used to it, and so are my friends. So we don't have that much time to see each other, but we can as often as we could, like we will. But yeah, it's pretty challenging, but it's really fun.
And you're learning Spanish at the same time?
Yes, I'm trying.
Is that
it's
part
challenging.
an option in your classes, or is it separate from school?
So it's an option in my classes, but unfortunately I didn't get to take it this year, but I'm planning on taking it next year. But I also took it for 3 years in high school. So I found it really fun, and it's really close to French, so it was really like easier for me, I guess, to learn it than other people because of my advantage in French, like the verbs and the feminine and masculine. And I just think it's such a beautiful language, and it's such an advantage to have. So I'm really trying to learn that.
So 3 languages, criminology. Wow,
Yeah,
you're
very proud
well
of
on
her.
your way.
Very proud of her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so do you plan on traveling a bit with those languages, or?
Hopefully, I mean, if I have money for it, then I'll travel. I would like to go somewhere where there's Spanish, obviously, so I could enhance my Spanish, or maybe if I could study somewhere in the States, for example, in a state where they do speak Spanish would also help. So yeah, any type of traveling like that would be really fun. But right now I'm just studying a lot.
Well, she likes place where it's warm.
Oh yes,
so,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to come
Yeah.
one day with, hey, Dad, I would like to study there for a semester, like in a place that probably south.
Yeah,
And you'd be surprised.
some hot place, preferably. Tired of the snow and cold.
Yes.
It's not my thing.
I know, eh? And you never thought of maybe going to work with your dad, or does that part of his work interest you in any way?
Yeah, I like the communications part, like with people and stuff. I'm very people oriented, and I love talking. Like, you just ask anyone in my family, I talk too much, right? Like, everyone tells me to stop talking. So I
That's
love,
why they chose for you to
yeah,
come.
exactly. So I really like that part of my dad's job, and he's brought me on set a few times when I was younger, and a few times they like film me just like drawing on the floor or something like that. But I just thought it was really interesting, and I thought that the communications part and just everything that he does like that is really interesting to me, and I feel like I get that from him.
But not
really
to
love
the
talking.
point of doing the same.
I don't know, maybe like a little part, because I had also applied in communications, which was my second option that really interested me as well. So that's not too far away from what he does.
Maybe producing criminal shows.
Oh
eh?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I have a project in that
There we
field
go.
too.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Well, this is all the time that we have. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you.
And to all of you out there, please stay with us. We continue en français.